Hollywood's toughest working-class hero, Mark Wahlberg, walked onto the View set expecting an easy, friendly interview. Instead, what unfolded became one of the most explosive live TV confrontations in recent memory. Mark came to promote his new film. But Joy Behar had other plans. From the moment he sat down, the air was thick with tension. His signature Boston confidence met Joy's sharp grin, and it was clear this wasn't going to be business as usual. "Welcome back to The View," Joy began sweetly, her voice laced with irony. "We're joined today by actor and producer Mark Wahlberg, here to promote his latest film." That subtle pause didn't go unnoticed. Mark smiled politely. "Thanks, Joy. Always a pleasure." "Oh, I bet it is," she shot back. "Tell me, Mark, do you consider yourself an accomplished actor?" The audience chuckled nervously. Mark's smile faltered for just a second. "I've been fortunate," he said calmly. "I work hard and take pride in what I do." Joy's laugh sliced through the room. "Hard work? Or just playing the same tough guy from Boston in every movie? Because honestly, if you've seen one Mark Wahlberg performance, you've seen them all." The audience froze. Mark's jaw tightened. "Well, Joy," he replied evenly, "I'd argue every character has depth, if you're paying attention." "Oh, I pay attention," she snapped. "I just don't see any depth. Angry cop, angry soldier, angry boxer. You're just playing yourself." Whoopi shifted awkwardly, trying to step in, but Joy waved her off. Mark leaned forward, eyes locked on hers. "That's your opinion, Joy, and you're entitled to it. But millions of people who relate to my movies might disagree." Joy smirked. "Relatable. The man with Beverly Hills mansions and $1,000 suits. How's that for working class?" Mark's smile turned tight. "I haven't forgotten where I came from. You can be successful and still stay true to your roots." "Oh, please," Joy interrupted. "You're as Hollywood as they come. You make millions pretending to struggle while real people actually do. You don't speak for the working class. You left that behind a long time ago." A stunned silence filled the studio. Mark's Boston accent slipped through as he spoke, voice steady but firm. "That's a hell of an assumption, Joy. You don't know me, and you sure as hell don't know where I came from." Joy crossed her arms, eyes glinting. "Maybe not, but I see what's in front of me. A man who sold his street cred for a big paycheck." Mark's fists tightened under the table, but he stayed composed. "You've got a lot to say about me," he said quietly. "But it sounds like you're really talking about yourself," the audience gasped. Joy's cheeks flushed, her confidence slipping for the first time. "Oh, trust me, Mark," she snapped. "We'll get to me. But right now we're talking about you." Mark leaned back, his gaze unwavering. "Neither am I done. Joy, and in that tense silence, live, unedited, and watched by millions. The world saw two forces collide. Pride versus perception. Fame versus authenticity. What started as a simple interview had just become a battle for truth on live television. The stage was set, the lights dimmed, the audience buzzed in nervous anticipation, and as the commercial break ended, everyone knew they were about to witness something unforgettable. The cameras rolled again. Mark sat still, hands clasped, his jaw tight but composed. Across from him, Joy Behar leaned forward, eyes glinting with a mix of defiance and satisfaction. Whoopi and the others sat silent, shifting uncomfortably, watching as tension thickened like smoke. Joy struck first. "So, Mark," she began, her voice sugary but laced with venom. "Let me guess. Your new movie's about another angry Boston guy with a chip on his shoulder. Or did you switch it up this time and give him a different hat?" The audience chuckled uneasily. Mark smiled faintly, though his eyes stayed cold. "That's cute, Joy," he said. "But if you'd watched the film instead of reading the press notes, you'd know it's about redemption. About a man trying to make things right." Joy clapped mockingly. "Oh, redemption! How poetic. Your whole career's been about trying to redeem yourself. Ever since Hollywood decided to forgive and forget your past. The words cracked through the air. Mark's back straightened, his voice low and steady. You want to talk about my past? Fine, I've made mistakes. I've owned them, and I've worked my ass off to become a better man. Joy pounced. Owned them? Or buried them under charm and PR? To me it looks like the same Mark Wahlberg in a nicer suit. Mark's lips pressed into a hard line. You really enjoy tearing people down, don't you? Joy leaned back smug. I enjoy calling out hypocrisy when I see it. You pretend to be a voice for the working class, but let's be real. You're just another millionaire pretending to care. The crowd shifted uneasily. Mark's hand tapped the armrest once before folding back into his lap. You don't know me, Joy, he said, his tone calm but cutting. You don't know what I do when the cameras are off, or what I actually care about. Oh, but I do, she snapped, her Brooklyn edge sharpening. You care about box office numbers, image, staying relevant. You play the same tough guy again and again because you're too scared to take a real risk. Mark chuckled, but there was no humor in it. You know what's funny? You sit here every day preaching kindness and equality, but the moment someone doesn't fit your little narrative, you tear them apart. Even Whoopi raised her eyebrows at that, but Joy didn't flinch. Better a truth teller than a fraud, she shot back. Mark leaned in. Is that what you think I am? A fraud? Because I've spent my whole life proving otherwise. Joy slammed her palm on the table. Proving what? That playing pretend for millions somehow makes you noble? You're a Hollywood creation, Mark. Nothing more. Mark's fists clenched, knuckles white. His voice dropped, quiet but fierce. Say what you want about me, but don't you dare disrespect the people who have supported me. The same people you talk down to every day. Joy laughed, sharp and cruel. Oh, don't flatter yourself. No one supports you. They support the illusion of you. It's easier to worship a fake hero than admit you're just another lucky guy with connections. The air was electric now. Cameras zoomed in on Mark's face, jaw tight, eyes dark, his restraint hanging by a thread. You've got a lot of opinions, Joy, he said, his voice measured. But here's the truth. You don't want a conversation. You want a victory. Joy leaned forward, her smirk unshaken. Oh, Mark, you don't get it. I already won. That smile was the final spark. Mark sat back slowly, eyes locked on hers. Silence filled the studio like thunder before a storm. Whoopi finally spoke up, hesitant. Maybe we should move on to the movie. But neither of them moved. Joy's sweet smile returned, eyes blazing. Oh no, she said softly. We're just getting started. Mark's faint smirk, part disbelief, part warning, said it all. You're right, he murmured. We are. The audience was silent. No one dared to breathe. Cameras rolled, lights blazed, and the world watched two titans clash. Not over fame, not over a film, but over pride, truth, and the cost of authenticity in Hollywood. Joy leaned back in her chair, smirking. You know what your problem is? You've been told you're amazing for so long, you actually believe it. Mark tilted his head, a faint smile tugging at his lips. And you know what yours is? You've spent so much time tearing people down, you've forgotten how to stand for anything yourself. The jab hit hard. For a brief moment, Joy's eyes narrowed before she leaned in again, her tone dripping with mockery. Cute line. But let's talk about what you stand for. Mediocre movies, forgettable performances, a career built on abs and an accent. The audience gasped. Even Whoopi winced. Mark's jaw tightened, but he stayed composed. That's rich coming from someone whose entire career revolves around throwing stones at people who are actually doing something. Joy barked out a harsh laugh. Doing what? Playing make-believe? Pretending to be a hero, while real people like me fight for something that matters? Mark shook his head. You're confusing fighting for something with fighting everyone." The audience erupted into applause, some even standing. But Joy didn't back down. She leaned closer, voice low and venomous. "You think that little speech earns you respect? Please. Your whole career is just one long Boston street hustle polished up for Hollywood." For the first time, Mark's composure cracked. He leaned forward, voice quiet but firm. "Say what you want about me, but don't you ever insult the people I grew up with. You wouldn't last a day where I'm from." Joy smirked. "Oh, what are you gonna do, Mark? Take me outside? Throw a punch like the good old days?" Mark shook his head slowly. "That's the difference between us, Joy. You think strength is shouting the loudest or throwing the first punch. Real strength is keeping your dignity when someone like you tries to take it away." The room went silent. The tension was thick enough to touch. Joy sneered. "Oh, Mark, you've already lost your dignity. You're just too arrogant to notice." Mark straightened his tie, face calm but eyes burning. "You know what? You're not worth it." Joy scoffed. "Running away already? Typical." Mark stood, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Not running," he said flatly. "Walking away while I still have my self-respect." Applause broke out, some cheering, some booing. But every eye stayed on him. Joy sat back, arms crossed, but the confidence had faded from her eyes. For the first time she looked unsure. Mark paused at the edge of the stage, turned back toward the audience, and spoke once more. His voice steady, his presence commanding. "I came here today to talk about my work, to share something I believe in. I was ready for disagreement, even criticism, but what I wasn't ready for was cruelty disguised as journalism." The silence that followed was absolute. Joy's smirk vanished. Mark held her gaze for a moment longer, then turned and walked off stage, leaving behind not just the studio lights, but the last word that truly mattered. Joy masked her discomfort with a dismissive roll of her eyes. Mark stepped toward the center of the stage, his voice steady but firm, projecting not just to the audience in the studio, but to every viewer watching at home. "People tune in expecting honesty," he said. "A real conversation. Instead, what they get is someone using their platform to tear others down, to embarrass them, to score cheap points at someone else's expense." The room erupted, some applauding loudly, others frozen in stunned silence. A few even rose to their feet. Mark waited, letting the noise fade before he spoke again. "You don't have to like me. You don't even have to respect me. But don't ever think your job gives you the right to treat people like they're beneath you. That's not journalism. That's bullying with better lighting." Joy's mouth opened as if to respond, but no words came out. The silence said everything. Mark gave a small nod, almost to himself, then turned and walked toward the curtain. As he disappeared backstage, the crowd broke into thunderous applause, some standing, some shouting his name. Behind the scenes, his publicist and two stunned producers stood frozen, their eyes wide. Mark simply brushed past them with a calm, polite, "Thank you," his composure fully restored. Back on stage, Joy sat motionless, staring at her hands. Her co-hosts, Whoopi, Sarah, and Sunny, exchanged uneasy glances. Finally, Whoopi broke the silence with an awkward half-smile. "Well," she said softly, "we'll be right back after this break." But everyone in the studio, and everyone watching at home, knew there was no coming back from what had just happened. Within minutes, social media exploded. Clips of the confrontation flooded TikTok, X, Twitter, and Instagram. Hashtags like "Daring Mark vs. Joy," "A Wahlberg Walkout," and "The View Meltdown" began trending worldwide. Fans and critics alike dissected every second, every line, every glance. Some praised Joy for being fearless, but far more hailed Mark as a symbol of grace under fire. Public opinion shifted sharply in his favor. Headlines blared across the internet. Mark Wahlberg walks out of The View and wins the room. Joy Behar faces backlash after brutal interview. Wahlberg, calm, collected, and done with the circus. Celebrities and former guests chimed in online, applauding Mark's restraint and criticizing Joy's aggressive tone. That evening, Mark posted a simple message on his social media. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to challenge someone. But it's never okay to humiliate them. Everyone deserves respect, even when you don't see eye to eye. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I'm proud to stand for what I believe in, and to walk away when necessary. Within hours, the post had millions of likes and shares. Joy, for her part, said nothing. Her silence spoke louder than any defense could have. And so, the curtain fell. Not just on an interview, but on one of the most unforgettable moments in daytime television history. The day Mark Wahlberg walked onto The View, kept his composure under fire, and walked out, not defeated, but victorious. What do you think? Did Mark handle it the right way? Did Joy go too far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood moments and behind-the-scenes showdowns, because the next story is just around the corner.